Hey guys, Luton here. Now, unfortunately, I had a vlog for you today, a 40k thing where I showcased this mystery box of things that I found. I brought it up here a year ago, but unfortunately, my audio that I thought was working with this didn't actually record, so I've got no audio for the whole of the thing. However, I think I can happily get around this by just narrating it. It sucks though, because it means I'm not in sync with what I'm actually doing, but I can still explain it and showcase it. I hope that's going to be good enough for you guys. If it sounds like it's one that you're going to hate, then just don't go with it. But there's some really cool stuff in here, so I think this is a good compromise, and next time I'm going to triple check to make sure it's working. Right, so here we go. Here's me saying hello everyone, and today I'm going to be talking about this mystery box thing. So basically what it was that this box was, about a year ago I brought this box up from my family's home because I wanted to get back into Warhammer 40k, and so I selected a load of bits and pieces that I thought would be appropriate for me to model with, for me to do conversions with, and all this kind of stuff. But since then I have forgotten what is in there. I also ordered some stuff online, some individual models that I thought would be great for creating character conversions. So we're just going to get in and have a look with this box and find out what is in here, because it's been about a year and I cannot for the life of me remember what is actually in the box. So we're going to have a little look-see. Let's get in with the first thing. So here I am looking in the box. And what is the first thing that I bring out? It's an Eldar transfer sheet. These transfers are basically for placing on models, giving them decals, and this was, I picked it up online because I needed to get back into doing some Eldar stuff, needed some more transfers, so I picked that one up. Next thing is this stuff. It's green stuff, and this is basically like modelling. It's two-part modelling, sort of putty. You can mix that together and then it becomes hard. You can carve and create with it to create sort of unique customizations for your characters. I've got some on a model that I was making the other day as well. What the hell was I talking about there? I don't know. What's that? Oh yeah, this one. I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, it's nothing. It's an empty bag. Okay, what else have we got in here? This one. Now this one, I was like, it's not a paint set. What the hell is it? But it was quite heavy, and I was like, it's got a bit of weight to it. So what are we looking at here? And I was quite surprised to find Tyranids. It's a box of Tyranids. This is really awesome. This comes from, I think, our friends up the road. They used to have a Tyranid army. They didn't want it anymore. I think that's when I kind of appropriated this. That, I think, is a Tyrant there, Tyranid Tyrant. You can see there's some Gene Stealers here. This is a Gene Stealer right here. You recognise that from my Space Hulk series. These are all kind of like first time around models as well. These are obviously not the new ones. I kind of like that. I kind of like having the older models. It's nice to have this mix, especially with the Gene Stealers. You can imagine they're kind of like a development in their species. So I kind of like having the older ones. This is a Carnifex right here. Carnifex is a really cool, interesting model. It normally has like these 4 big arms, and they are in the box here. I checked. Man, you can see I dropped it there. They're like white metal there, and that thing is like solid metal, so it's quite heavy. You can actually see why they went to the plastic models in the end, but it's kind of nice having metal stuff, you know. I like having those metal models. It's just nice to kind of have the old school style, you know. This here is a warrior. This is like the old school Tyranid warrior. They changed up the models now. They look quite different, but at the time, yeah, this was the warrior model, and there's I think there's 3 of those in the kit. It'd be cool to get these painted up and looking really nice. This is a gargoyle, I believe. Like these flying things, and they have these kind of acidic weapons that they fire from. But yeah, Tyranid's quite horrific, but quite a nice find. I was really pleased to actually find this stuff because I hadn't anticipated having any Tyranid things whatsoever. So that's actually really nice. You can see here there is plenty of stuff in the box, all sorts of bits and pieces, some little termagants there. This box, wasn't sure, this one had a little bit of weight to it in this box. It was kind of an older box, so I wasn't sure what I was going to find. But sure enough, what we found in the box right here was this. It's a bits box. It's a bits box of stuff. It's just Space Marine things. I think I bought this online quite recently, actually, maybe 6 months ago. And it's just like Space Marine arms, Space Marine bodies, Terminators. There's las cannons in there. There's like 2 las cannons, a twin las cannon. There's Dreadnought armor, there's pieces of Dreadnought, there's lots of weapon stuff, there's bases, shoulder plates, basically everything you want, just a huge bag of bits. And I think I bought the whole lot for like about a tenner or something like that. It was really cheap. But this is what I've been saying to people. People go ask me, like, how can we get into Warhammer? It's quite expensive. I'm going to do a video talking about the expense of Warhammer. But if you want some cheap bargains, look on eBay for like a job lot, bits box like this and just put stuff together. You'd be surprised what you can get out of it. There's a Terminator body there as well, but I'm not sure if there's the parts to it. I think there's Terminator parts actually in that bag for the Dreadnought, so there's like the Dreadnought arms, that's what the las cannons were, so I might actually be able to put that Dreadnought together. If not, it'll just be part of a diorama, just to sort of, you know, make it explode or something like that. There's some Terminator armor and some bits and pieces there, so that's quite a good find there. But as I say, like bits bags, they're really good if you can find them cheap online. Look for the right price and they can be totally worthwhile purchasing. If not to kind of like flesh out your existing army, they can create some interesting scenery. There's all sorts of stuff you can do with bits box. Okay, this stuff is like lichen. It's like kind of foam and lichen. This stuff is really great for creating little bushes, but it's also good for basing, putting bases on your models. And you can see it's like this kind of lichen-y stuff. You can pick this up all over the place, but especially like, you know, my video I did on Dartmoor lately, you can pick up this stuff all over the place there, and it's really great for basing your models. It just looks, because it's real, you know, it looks alive, and it's really great for the bases there. Okay, this was a package I think I bought pretty recently. I think I got it on eBay, again, for sort of cheap prices for what it was, but also, these are Necromunda models, and Necromunda is out of stock. They don't produce it anymore, so this is the only way you can pick up these stuff. You can't buy it from Games Workshop. The only way you could get it is to buy it online. And I actually have quite a few sort of out of production models now. I have quite a lot, and it's always interesting to have out of production stuff. So this here is a Juve. This is a Necromunda Juve, and you'll see a sort of more detailed close-up of this in a mo. But basically, Necromunda was a game which was set in these huge hives in Warhammer 40k. Hives are like massive, huge cities, miles high, and within them there are gangs and brutal gang warfare, and that was the game Necromunda. It was like a sort of a sideways tangent of a game within the Warhammer 40k franchise. Here we've got this is also a gang leader for Necromunda. I can't remember what the gang was called, but it's the female sort of gang there, and she's like a really interesting looking model as well. So that's going to be really great for conversions. You can see here the close-ups of these. So this is the Juve, and you can see she's got like a little sort of pickaxe thing and this big fuck off like pistol right there. It looks like a sort of, I think it's called a stubber or stub gun. Stubber was the big one. This is, I think, just, it's basically like a massive magnum. Really, you can see heavy caliber weapon there. So yeah, really cool. They're supposed to be like these hardened fighters, gang fighters, and the reason I picked these up was because I imagine that I can do like some interesting little diorama work, or perhaps just paint them up really, really nice. That's the gang leader, and again, you can see she's pretty kitted. She's a really nice looking model. Like there's a lot of detail in this character model, and I really like it. But the good thing about like Necromunda is that you can play with like 5 or 6 models. The thing that sucked about Necromunda was you had to kind of keep track of all your stats. It was just really irritating, and I think you can actually refine those rules, make it better. I kind of want to look at the rules myself and try and come up with some rules, see if I can make that a game that you can play, because it's a good game if you want to just sort of have a quick game. This was another model I bought online. It looks like a Space Marine sergeant, or perhaps a captain. I think it's a sergeant. But basically he has like a scanner and a bolt gun, and he's just a really good looking model. When you see this one close up, you'll see what I mean. It's just a really nice looking figure. Here he is, and you can see he's got like the skull on the chest plate. He's got his scanner there, and he's just shouting. It's just a really nice figure, and I thought when I saw this one, I was like, yeah, this will make a really fantastic, like, larger base model. When I do like a larger base, it's like a kind of sculpted, converted base that looks really interesting. He would look great on that once he's all painted up. And I thought it would just be good to do as like a unique character sort of model. I don't think he's actually a character, I think he's just like a sergeant or something, but it would look really good to do on a conversion, so that's why I picked up that one. And again, these models were maybe like £2 or £3 on eBay. They're really not very much. Now let's get in on the next bag right here, British Home Stores. And yeah, this is some modelling-y stuff, things I brought that I would need. This is sand. This is what you use for basing on your models, basically. It's sharp sand, and I was trying to show this without spilling it, but basically it's just sharp sand. And what you would do is you get the base of your model, dip it in some glue, coat it with glue, and then just put the model into here, just move it back and forth, and obviously all that stuff will stick to it, and then you can lay a little bit more glue on top to just seal it, make sure it doesn't fall off of the model base. But that stuff's really good. You can just, it makes it look 3D, really nice looking bases, very simple to do on a lot of your sort of Space Marine characters or whatever, and obviously then you can paint it up like snow or desert or whatever you want it to be. Okay, now this set was kind of a heavy box, and I was like, what the hell is in this one? It's got a Warhammer box, but actually it's this. It's Mark 1 Space Marines. Actually, it's Mark 1 and Mark 6 Space Marines. it's a mix of different Space Marine stuff. There's some modern things as well. And here you can see this is the Mark 6 power armor. You can't see because it's painted black. Remember, we painted these when we were kids, so they're painted incredibly bad. But I'm going to strip these all back and get them painted really, really nicely. But these ones, yeah, these are the Mark 6 power armor. These are the very, very early models. And you can see they just look so different to the model. The shoulder plates don't have the kind of edging to them. The leg plates are quite thin on the thighs, so they just look, and they've got the beak helmet instead of the kind of standard Space Marine helmet. So these are really nice models to have. This guy right here, I have no idea what this is. I did a little look online, I couldn't find him. On the tab at the bottom, it says Space Marine. I wonder if this is like a rogue trader Space Marine or something. I have no idea what this figure is, but it could be, I think, a very early model from the sort of very beginning of Warhammer 40,000. So I'm not sure what that is, but because the original Rogue Trader Space Marines, they were supposed to be like kind of like Buccaneer sort of, you know, they were out in space searching for like STCs and things. So I think that's what that's from. This is really cool. This is a original like Space Marine Scout, and again, like I say, you can see that the armor looks very, very different indeed. So really cool to find these. This whole box had a load of early models in, so really cool. This was also in the box. This is a Calexus Assassin. There's different branches of Assassin for the Imperium in Warhammer 40k, I should say, and that was a Calexus Assassin. I'll get into more of these in later when I actually do them up. This is a Tech Marine. It's a Space Marine who's like a Tech Priest. And yeah, those are really cool to find. I was very pleased I found another Tech Marine because they're really cool models, and yeah, pleased to have that one. So next, going in on the bag, what do we find right here? There's lots of like little boxes and just general things in here that I will need for stuff. These are the this is a box of just random bits. This is just kind of like, there's like a Warhammer guy with an axe, there's a random horse there. This is one of my sort of random bits boxes of just things that I could, I don't know, cut up or use. But this was cool to find. I found these were the original Space Marine figures, and yes, I was super excited to find it. These were like the kind of weird cheap ones, and they had like side facing, all their weapons were like side facing, they just slotted into the chest with like a little plug. But remember I said in the other video about the badly painted Space Marines? These were them. I couldn't believe I found it, and you can see that I'm going to get it and show. These were the badly painted Space Marines that I talked about in the first video. This was the first thing I ever owned. Amazing, right? Look at it. I didn't paint these. My friend who gave them all to me painted them. And my lord, they are painted bad. I mean, have you ever seen a worse painted Space Marine? It's so shocking. They are absolutely terrible. Just really bizarre. But anyway, with what I'm going to do with these models is I'm going to strip them right back and hopefully, again, paint them nice, because they look kind of old school, but they're kind of, the idea, paint them up really nicely, it could actually be really intriguing to have those. So I was very excited to find that. This one here, wasn't going to take this out, but this was basically like flock. Flock is just little particles, green, yellow, brown, that you use for basing models with. I wasn't going to open that up. This here is just like, that's like styrofoam and some copper pipe. Copper pipe makes great barrels for Warhammer 40k, and the other stuff you can just carve it up and again use for basing. So this is all kind of like stuff that you will use for basing and decorating your figures, makes them look more sort of 3D and interesting, and like they've got some kind of, you know, stylism with them. Okay, this next one, this was just a Warhammer box. I think this was, as I remembered, my transfer box, and yes it is, all the transfers in there, so all the decals for different Space Marines, Chaos, Eldar, all the stuff that you got in there. Transfers don't often last particularly long, so I'm not sure if any of those are going to be good to go or not. Okay, this was a really heavy box, and I wasn't sure what was in here. This was interesting. This was a mix of little elements that I had finished and other things that I found. There's some Chaos Space Marines in here. Now there's some very old, weird figures in here, and I also found some Eldar stuff. So I'm going to show you close up what I found in this box. This was probably the most interesting box of all the things we found in terms of what's in here. And again, I'm going to be able to use this stuff for, I don't know, different purposes. If I'm trying to come up with my Necromunda game idea, this may help as well. But let's have a little look at actually what was in the box right here. Now you can see here's all the bits and pieces. So first of all, I think there's like a Chaos Space Marine at the front here. I think there's two Nurgle Chaos Space Marines that I wanted to paint up real nice. This here is it's a Eldar Banshee Exarch. So that's going to be really nice. I've got quite a few Banshees for my Biel-Tan army. And this one's going to be really nice to do. I'm not always a huge fan of the newer models, but the Banshees look really, really cool. This is a Nurgle Chaos Space Marine, and that'll be cool to paint him up. there's a lot of these kind of weird little figures. These are kind of like these old weird, I don't even know what they're from. They're really bizarre. They might not even be 40k. They might be, well, they're definitely not, but they might be sort of not even, I think they're Warhammer figures actually. But the idea with them was to be, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. Those are old school, again, from that very, very early Space Marines. Those are heavy melters. And I post them on little bases as the idea of they'd be like floating platforms or sort of stationary weapons, perhaps, defending like, I imagine them more as like stationary weapons to be defending like a base or something like that. Okay, these are kind of cool. These are my sniper hidden markers. I made these because it always annoyed me that snipers in Warhammer 40k are just kind of like standing around. So I made those bases to represent the idea that they could be sort of hidden within sort of cover or whatever. Again, you can see these older models. I think these are like old Warhammer figures. But my idea with them was to basically convert them into Chaos Cultists. I think that's an orc. I think these are very old Warhammer models. But yeah, my idea with these was to, because they're also varied and each one is kind of individual, I wanted to make them into Chaos Cultists, another Chaos Space Marine. Chaos Cultists are kind of like humans which worship chaos, and sometimes they might have a bit of distortion, etc. So that was my idea with that. This is, again, a Chaos Space Marine that I've converted. It's just really mashed up and messed up. I actually like the look of this guy, because Chaos Space Marines are supposed to be, by their nature, really distorted and horrific. But this one, it never really got finished, you know, and so I think I can do more with this. I can add little elements and really make him look cool. I love the kind of weird sort of gas mask, horrific face thing that it's got going on. That was just some weird figure that I have as a kid, and I kind of like chopped it up and stuck it onto this model. This model as well, these Space Marines, when I was younger, my Chaos Space Marines, what I used to do is just burn them or get a soldering iron to them, make them look really horrific and distorted. This was like, it's like a little flying sort of griffin-y thing, and it's like carrying a book. Again, I can't remember what the hell that's from, but I think I just based it up like that to kind of use in various games. I think it was part of my cultist thing or something, I don't know. This right here was a minefield. It was a minefield marker, so I made like different markers, and we used to come up with our own rules all the time in 40k, because you can. There's no reason why you can't just make up rules and use them between friends. So this was like a minefield marker, and you can see the kind of minefield things going on, and you would basically put this down on the board, and then you could sort of designate an area as having a minefield. If people wanted to pass through it, there'd be like a roll percentage chance that they would set off mines, and then that would have an effect on them, etc., etc. Okay, what else is in here? Still more of these weirdo models, and again, this guy seems to have a bit of a gun or something. I don't know what the hell these are from. They're kind of cool though, and they work with the Chaos Cultist idea. This was like a trap placement. Basically, I had this thing where, when we were doing sort of Necromunda style, you can have these as kind of like traps. So the idea that this little thing would like come out, grab your character, kill it. So if you go within a certain proximity, it will set off a trap. These are mines. Again, the idea that we were having sort of like anti-tank mines or things like this on the battlefield. So again, it's just kind of traps and little elements. It was cool. We used to kind of make this stuff up. Some more sniper markers there. So that's that. You can see the little gun barrels in the end. So that's basically the idea that they're like lying prone in cover with ghillie suits or whatever, and actually being like snipers instead of like just standing on the battlefield. Okay, what's next here? Okay, more of these weird kind of stationary emplacements. Some of these were just kind of like scenery to decorate, you know. Another character model here. This guy actually, he looked kind of like Space Marine. I think that's possibly another Rogue Trader Space Marine, very much like the other one. That doesn't look like a cultist. He looked like a very early Space Marine. Last thing I think to look at here was these other figures down here. You can see in the like plastic boxes. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah, some more weird little guys. I got loads of these weird little guys. I kind of look forward to sort of painting these up really nicely actually, because years ago I didn't know how to strip the paint off them, so they kind of just had to stay as they were. But now I can clean these right back to how they are and try and paint them up as well as I can. So be kind of nice to have that. And again, I can try and get some chaos. I've got some transfers for chaos. I can get some chaos emblems on them and go with my chaos cultist idea. Now these guys here, I must have ordered these online ages ago. I think the idea was I had 3 Chaos Noise Marine Space Marines, and I wanted to make 5. So these are 2 Chaos Noise Marine Space Marines. Noise Marines are basically Chaos Space Marines who worship Slanesh, which is the god of like pleasure and all this kind of stuff. So they basically play these instruments which have like horrific levels of sound that will like destroy your internal organs. They can play the instruments to actually, you know, spontaneously ignite people, burst your inside organs, just have like horrific effects on your body. So those are going to be really cool. It's going to be really interesting looking at a plastic bag right here. It's going to be really interesting to paint these guys up because they've got a lot of detail on them and they just look really, really awesome. The original ones that I did sucked. I painted them up very garish colours. I had this thing for a while of like white base coating and then painting them really high garish colours. Just looks terrible. So I'm going to go back and find those models, paint them up with a really, really nice look to them. So there we go, guys. That's basically the models that I found and all the bits and pieces that I know I now have. I want to apologise yet again for the whole audio issue. It sucks. It's just one of those very annoying things. I thought it was recording and it wasn't, and there's nothing more annoying than recording like a whole thing like this and then finding out that you've lost it. It just sucks, and I didn't want to kind of lose this episode just because of that, so I thought, this is a reasonable compromise. Anyway, I found loads of great stuff in the box there. There's loads of stuff that I can do basing with, modelling with, converting with, repainting. There's tons of stuff there, so it's going to make a lot of great videos. Next video that I'm going to make on 40k will probably be a lore video, and then after that we're going to get into the painting because I've got all those Guardians and stuff. I've got some Eldar things to paint up. There's going to be some models that I'm just going to refine and go back in and just add some very kind of finished detail to, but overall next video is going to be painting stuff. So thanks for watching today, guys. If you enjoyed, drop a like. I need support on my 40k series. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.